Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're just trying to survive another night shift at a high-end restaurant, when suddenly you find yourself in the crosshairs of a billionaire's ego. Yeah, that happened to me. And if you think you know how these things go, buckle up, because nothing about that night went the way anyone expected. So, there I was, David Washington, just trying to keep my head down at Meridian, one of those places where the forks are heavier than the tips. Victoria Sterling, the kind of CEO who probably sleeps in boardrooms and dreams about buyouts, was at her usual table, picking apart a $200 million merger agreement like it was last week's leftovers. She looked tired, on edge, the sort of tired that money can't fix. And then, out of nowhere, I noticed something in her contract, just a little mistake, really a clause twisted up so bad it could tank the whole deal. You know what I mean? I should have just kept my mouth shut. But I couldn't help it. So, I mentioned it just quietly, nothing dramatic. But Victoria Sterling, she slammed her fist on the table so hard, the silverware rattled, and the whole restaurant stopped dead. The contract flew from her hand, scattered across the floor, and there I was, bending down to pick up the pieces with everyone watching, judging, waiting to see if I'd crumble under her glare. But the thing is, I've weathered bigger storms than some CEO with a temper. Victoria gave me that look, the one people give when they're deciding if you're worth the trouble or if they should just make you disappear. She laughed, sharp and cold. You were reading over my shoulder while serving dinner? What kind of place is this? The manager, James, hustled over, sweating bullets, trying to calm her down, telling me to go back to the kitchen. But I didn't move. Something inside me just wouldn't let me back down, not this time. Actually, I said as calm as I could, stacking the pages, there's an inconsistency in the third paragraph of the termination clause. It could be read two ways, which could void the deal if things go south. You could hear a pin drop. Victoria looked at me like I'd grown a second head. Do you have any legal training? She snapped, sarcasm dripping off every word. Or did you just watch a few episodes of Law and Order? I smiled not because it was funny, but because it was the only armor I had. Something like that. She grabbed the contract and waved it like a threat. Fine. Prove it. Translate every paragraph into words a kid could understand. Right here, in front of everyone. Phones were coming out. Forks down. People love a train wreck. I looked her in the eye, dead serious. Are you sure you want to do this? Because once I start, you might not like what you find. She leaned in, that CEO shark smile spreading across her face. Oh, I'm counting on it. Nobody there knew I'd spent years studying contracts, not for fun, but for survival. You grow up watching your mom get ripped off by landlords, banks, employers. You learn knowledge is protection. So I started. Clause 1. Transfer of assets. Your company's buying another for $217 million if the government lets it happen. She scoffed. Anyone can read the first line. Keep going, waiter. Clause 2. 90-day audit. You get to look at everything. But be careful because what comes next isn't what you think. I could see the wheels turning in her head. People around us were actually leaning in. Now, here's where it got good. Termination clause for adverse material change. See, this lets the seller walk away if something big changes, but it doesn't say how big. Could be a 5% dip, could be 50%. And if they walk, they keep your $20 million deposit. Victoria's face changed. Harvard lawyers, $400,000 in fees, and nobody caught it. You could see it hit her. She tried to shut me down, but I wasn't finished. You want to hear about the intellectual property clause? Because if you sign this, they keep rights to any innovation you make together, even after you split. She ripped the contract from my hands. Enough. James, call security. I stood up slow. Of course, MS. Sterling. But before I go, maybe you want to know about Clause 17? The one that hands over control of your company to them, if there's ever a dispute. Total silence. You could feel the panic starting to leak out around the edges. And then, as if on cue, a voice came from the back of the room, Robert Mitchell, the legal legend himself, standing up, calm as ever. Actually, he said, David's right. Now everyone was really paying attention. Robert knew me, Harvard Law, 2 summers interning at his firm. David Washington, he announced, one of the brightest interns we ever had. Victoria just stared, all her assumptions crumbling. She thought I was just a waiter, but now the mask was off. I told her straight I wasn't here because I had no options. This was my girlfriend's family restaurant. I was helping them out. My real specialty? Finding the kind of traps she almost fell for tonight. It got real quiet as I told her the truth. I've been hired by Hartwell Enterprises, the company trying to buy hers, to find weaknesses in her contracts. No confidentiality signed. Nothing illegal. In fact, everything I just pointed out was public knowledge if you knew where to look. Then the real twist, I'd recorded the whole thing, every insult, every attempt to humiliate me, every coded bit of prejudice. And I'd already emailed my findings to her board, the SEC, and 3 journalists. Victoria was shaking now, her whole world sliding out from under her. She tried to threaten lawsuits, but Robert cut her off. If I were you, I'd be thanking him, not threatening him. I told her why I did it. Because people like you think you can humiliate anyone who doesn't fit your mold. Someone's got to show you knowledge has no color, and dignity can't be bought. The fallout was instant and brutal. Within 3 weeks, Victoria was gone, boxes packed, her board voting her out after my analysis showed years of negligence. The video of her meltdown went viral. Companies pulled contracts. Her name became shorthand for what happens when arrogance blinds you. Me? 47 job offers in 2 weeks, a mentorship with Robert Mitchell, and the chance to open my own law firm defending small businesses from predatory deals. My cousin Kevin, the lawyer she'd fired for not fitting in, got $800,000 in a settlement. He's my first employee now. Victoria? Couldn't get a call back from anyone but recruiters checking on her cultural competency. Sterling Dynamics survived, barely, but only after dumping 90% of her shares to settle angry investor suits. And as for Meridian, they made me legal advisor. Turns out even fancy restaurants need help with contracts. 6 months later, I walked back in, suit on, 5 clients in tow, to the same table where it all started. Robert Mitchell grinned at me. Funny thing, David, if she'd just shown you basic respect, she'd be $200 million richer today. The truth is, the best revenge isn't ruining someone, it's building something they can't touch, turning their contempt into your own foundation. Sometimes being underestimated is the best thing that can happen to you. You get to surprise the world. Now let me ask you, have you ever been underestimated because of how you look, where you come from, or your job title? How did you turn that into your own kind of victory? Drop your story below, and don't forget to follow for more, because real power isn't about money or titles. It's about seeing what others miss, standing tall when everyone expects you to bow, and never letting someone else's small view of you set your limits.